Today's repair is actually quite an interesting one. We have an original modified Xbox. We've got the power supply and we've got the main motherboard here. There is in fact no power to the main motherboard. My colleague Mark has purchased a load of capacitors for the main board and the power supply unit and believes that the reason it's not turning on is because these caps up here, which are usually the culprits, have gone bust. You can see, other than the rust that you have on the front one, you can see that they're a little bit bowed, pointing upwards. Now, instead of going ahead and replacing just those capacitors that look bad, Mark suggested that we actually replace most of the capacitors on the main board and the caps on the power supply unit. The power supply unit isn't faulty. It seems to be testing and working fine, but because of the age of the console, we suggested to the customer that it might be worth just replacing most of the caps. No good fixing the ones that have gone bad, and then in 2, 3, 4 weeks or months or whatever, however long it may be, the other ones go bad and he has to come back to us and we have to do the repair again. Customer was more than happy to go ahead, and that's what we're going to be doing in today's video. I have a bag of a lot of capacitors, different shapes and sizes in here. The power supply itself has been discharged, and the first thing we're going to do is replace this big cap right here. So the capacitors that I need for the power supply, I need 400 volt one, so that's one of these. I need a 10 volt, I need two 10 volt 2200s, yep, and a 16 volt 470, which is this one. Nice. Don't necessarily know how I'm going to film this, but what I need to do is apply heat to both of these solder joints down here and then also wiggle this cap to pull it out. Apply a little bit of flux to help the solder flow. This is our big cap that we have, 400 volt one. Just help with the removal of the cap, take away the solder. A lot of wick is going to be used and a lot of flux. Get it from all areas, good. And the same on this one. Go straight in there. Might actually be a little bit easier to add some leaded. Bring down the melting temperature. We can do that. Just like that. Same with this one. There we go. That seems to be a little bit easier. Come on. Might need to change iron tip. Time for me to announce Big Bertha. Okay, Big B, show us what you got. There we go. There it is. Right, back on this one now. There we go. Lovely. And just finish up over here. Okay, so theoretically we should just be able to pull this out now. With a little bit of wiggle. There it comes. There we go. Lovely. There's that cap. Now if we just quickly go over those holes to get rid of the remaining solder. And we can give it some fresh new stuff. Nice. Quick clean. Just get rid of that juicy flux. Nice. There we go. And now just to put this cap in its place, we've just loaded it in. Put Big Bertha on. I have got the cap the right way around. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is just apply a bit of flux to both areas to help the solder flow. There we go. I've just snipped that away, and again just a quick clean of the flux. Just to make it a little bit prettier. Perfect. Just for those curious to see the other side of the cap. There it is. Next is the two 10 volt ones, which I believe are these two big ones right here. In which case I think it's this point and this point. I could be wrong though. Definitely looks it from this angle. No, that's the right one. Perfect. So again, we're just gonna wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Don't need to remove the solder on these ones first. The only reason I've done that on the other one is because of the fact it was such a big cap. There we go. Let's just pop straight out. And then we'll do this one whilst we're here. And obviously we need to remove the solder from these holes. You wouldn't forget that, Joe, would you? Nope. Let's just get rid of the solder. There goes one. There goes two. Cap has been inserted. Again, a little bit of flux. Cap's now in place. Don't need that excess solder on it, that's for sure. There we go. Yep, clean. Nice jobby. And the last one is here, 16 volt 470. Theoretically, a nice and easy one to remove. Just a pretty awkward one to pull down on because there's so much around it. Got a better grip now, so I should be able to pull it out. Got one of the legs is out. We just can't get this one out. Come on. There we go. Okay, good. Wick it up. There we go. Nice little clean. And that will be the power supply done for the time being. Now we move on to the actual board. I won't do each of these individually. I'll just fast forward through this bit. Had to just use the solder sucker there. They were being very stubborn. And now we're going to insert the new caps into place. All 5 of these. Right, so that's those 5 done. We have these two, and this one on its own. Good. Okay, that should be all of the caps replaced that have been needed to be replaced. I guess the only thing for us to do now is give it a test. Wish me luck. Like I said, the very, very exciting part. This had no power before. When I go and press the power button, it works, which is amazing. And we also have display. It was an interesting little fix. I've not recapped that many capacitors before, and I'm just glad that we managed to get it working for the customer. Hopefully for years to come. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.